Well, Indiana coach Curt Cignetti once famously said 2 words, Google me. Well, if you Google him now, what you're going to find is a whole bunch of articles about a $92.8 million contract extension, 8 years to stay with the Indiana Hoosiers, $11.6 million per year. While this is good for the Hoosiers and good for Indiana, it is not good for a lot of teams looking for a new coach. That includes one of the teams in the SEC, Arkansas, and maybe another by the end of the week, possibly Florida. Welcome to Southeast Sports Plus. Gerhard Mathangani, Patrick Walsh with you. Simone Eli will join us momentarily, but the big news broke yesterday. We talked about it here on the show, Patrick. One of the big things about college football that we've always seen is every university is trying to get to that next level, trying to find that next guy. Indiana seemingly has found that next guy, but most importantly, they're going to keep that guy according to this contract.
And yet again, another guy under the Saban coaching tree gets paid. I mean, I think I saw a stat or something of his salary just like 6 or 7 years ago, and he was making $100,000 a year as the assistant coach, or it was at IUP, I think he was at.
He's been at IUP and Elon. Those are the 2 schools before JMU.
And now here he is, $11.6 million richer. I mean, this is unreal. This is great for Indiana. Obviously, last year it was a program-changing year. There were a lot of speculation around, well, they can't win the big games. But, I mean, if you look at the 2 losses, they were the 2 teams that played in the national championship.
That's exactly right.
And as you can see here, these are pictures from the Oregon game. And I think that Oregon game kind of solidified, Curt Cignetti, he's for real. He's got these Hoosiers in a nice spot.
Absolutely. You talk about timing. Timing in football is everything, whether it comes to plays or players making huge plays in games. Timing is also a big thing as far as it relates to coaches. Let me explain. Because Curt Cignetti obviously signed this or got this deal based in large part because this is no longer conceptual, can he win big, and was last year a flash in the pan. I think that win in Oregon really said, oh, no, we are really here. Yep. It wasn't last year 11 wins. It wasn't a fluke. They might have snuck up on some teams, but not many. And then this past year, obviously, getting up to a really nice start and then going to Eugene and getting that win. Timing can also be bad the other way around because Oregon goes to Penn State, beats Penn State. Now, James Franklin's, failures.
Failures.
It's a litany of things.
Right.
But you talk about timing, you can't lose that game to Oregon in double overtime when you're known as the guy that can't win the big one. And then lose the next week to UCLA, and then lose the next week to Northwestern. If he wins either one of those 2 games, he might still have his job. Timing is everything.
I mean, he was always known as a guy that can beat up on the bad teams. And I think I said this the other day. James Franklin was really good when he played against teams that had lesser talent than Penn State. Every time he played a team that had equal to or greater than, I think he won 1 game. And it was the Ohio State game, and it was because of a blocked field goal that got returned back. That is literally the only reason why he has 1 win. Other than that, he would have gone 0 for like 17.
Yes. I mean, it would have been horrible, and that's what Penn State is looking for is the guy that can take them over the top. And it looks like Curt Cignetti is that guy right now that can take a team over the top. Has he won a national championship? No. Is he trending in the right direction? And is he doing exactly what? It's so ironic because Curt Cignetti is doing exactly what Penn State wants.
Yes.
But then IU locks him up. Now, I erroneously thought that Curt Cignetti would at least weigh his options.
Right.
And use all of these openings as leverage if he wanted to stay. But what I thought was, Indiana is traditionally a basketball school. And obviously they love Bob Knight, and I think they love football, but there's a handful of universities where you can make the argument that basketball is more important than football, Kentucky being one, Duke being one, North Carolina being one. And I know they all want to play and compete and do well in football, but basketball is kind of there. That's what they're known for. Kansas is another. I thought Indiana was in that same boat, and they would not necessarily give the right resources, or the resources would have a ceiling. This lets me know Indiana's for real.
I mean, I knew going into this whole debacle about right when James Franklin got fired from Penn State, I knew Indiana literally had to throw the kitchen sink at Curt Cignetti to get him to stay. Because, I mean, if they didn't, Penn State has an awful lot more money than Indiana does to offer.
No question.
And here Indiana is signing Curt Cignetti to an amazing contract extension, a well-deserved contract extension because, I mean, this Indiana team is going to be a problem for years to come. And, I mean, they've got a guy under center in Fernando Mendoza who could go on to win the Heisman this year.
Right. This is Southeast Sports Plus. We talk about teams in the SEC. However, one of the things you just did, and you synced it up really well, because that first image was with Curt Cignetti and Marcus Freeman. Seemingly the two of the hottest coaching candidates that will be, quote-unquote, available on the market. I know these guys are both under contract. Now that he's locked up, and it's really interesting to me, these coaching things that have come out this past week, whether it's James Franklin getting fired, then there was the report, and you had the fact that the Florida boosters have already started talking, and this could be the end of Billy Napier if they lose this week to Mississippi State. Now, if everything aligns and Marcus Freeman gets an extension, I have no idea where these schools go next, because Arkansas is still open.
Right.
Florida could come open, and who knows what else falls out of the SEC. I find the game of negotiations really interesting as far as it relates to timing.
I want to make a bet on this program.
Okay.
And I'm going to hold everyone at home accountable. Or I want everyone at home to hold me accountable.
Okay. All right.
If James Franklin, yes, please do. If James Franklin does not end up in the SEC next year, I'm a West Virginia guy. I will wear a Pittsburgh Panthers shirt on this show.
Wow. So you feel that confident?
Yes.
You feel that confident?
This just makes it even more obvious.
Yeah. I
mean, now Indiana's they have Curt Cignetti.
Yeah.
So Signetti's not going to go to Arkansas or anything. And this whole time I'm like, Arkansas, James Franklin, perfect fit. James Franklin can get Arkansas back on the map, exactly what they need. But now with the whole Billy Napier situation and, Florida fans, I don't know if you're rooting for your own team or if you're rooting to lose this weekend. I believe it could either be Arkansas or Florida, but it's got to be either one.
Right. Okay, so let me ask you this. Are you worried at all before you have to don that Pitt Panther jersey or shirt? Are you worried at all that, let's just say that Arkansas likes Rhett Lashley more, and they can get him for cheaper than they can get for James Franklin? Do you feel like that job, the Arkansas job, maybe not the Florida job, but the Arkansas job will be filled by somebody else that's more tied to that university?
See, here's the thing, though. I don't think Rhett Lashley's going to take less than $8 million.
So you're saying it will come back down to the dollars.
Yes.
And James Franklin's dollars, he wants it lower.
Because, as we mentioned the other day, if it goes over $8 million, then James Franklin may owe Penn State. So he's going to have to take a contract right around $7 or $8 million, which actually works out perfectly in Arkansas's favor because then they can get James Franklin, who's proven to be a coach that can be consistent, whether that's being consistent about beating up on bad teams or consistent about losing to good teams. At least he's consistent, and you can use the rest of that money to get NIL, boost your NIL, boost your facilities.
Yeah.
That's why I feel confident about it.
You're very young in your career. I'm gonna make a suggestion.
Oh boy,
you should be an agent.
Oh
I didn't think about that aspect of it though, because they can really play off of one another. And if it means more for Arkansas to save the dollars, then you can get James Franklin for lesser.
Yeah.
But if it means more for you to get the guy that you want, the hometown guy, bring him back to Arkansas, it can be a move to get Rhett Lashley. It'll be really interesting because it's that job and the Florida job that seemingly will be open. I mean, if everything plays out the way that I think it will, because I think Mississippi State's winning this football game this weekend, and if all the rumors are true, we can have 2 SEC jobs open by this time next week. And who's to say that there's not another coaching candidate that's already out there that might get scooped up and sign a long deal?
You never know, honestly. I mean, I thought it was shocking as is that all 16 teams returned their head coach this year. And now this is just even more apparent.
Right, exactly. I did exactly what Curt Cignetti asked us all to do, is Google him. And we'll take a look at his resume here. I finally did, because I knew about his time at JMU. And I said, you know what? Okay, so obviously he was with JMU for a while. I knew about his past. But I didn't know before JMU. He was at IUP and at Elon. He was a winner at both of those places. But here's a look at the last 19 games here, 17-2 overall. As you mentioned, the only 2 losses were the 2 teams that were competing for the national championship a year ago. Made the first college football playoff in year 1. And then last week beat Oregon, which some might say that win alone might be worth $92 million. What they ended up signing him for, that huge contract.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one doubt around Curt Cignetti in this Indiana program. It's, well, they haven't played anybody. And then they finally played somebody, and then they just obliterated them. I think they obliterated them. I never thought it was close. Oh, here we go. Here we
She's
go.
in. She's in. Ew.
What is up? What is up, guys? What is
up,
up? Sorry
friend?
for
What?
the delay. Put some respect on Curt Cignetti. What are we doing, man?
What
Listen,
are we
this
doing?
guy, I met him at the Sunbelt Media Days back when he was at JMU. And my introduction to Curt Cignetti, not to hijack this conversation, guys, but by the way, I've missed you all week. But I will say this, is he was insane.
Yeah.
We stood in the hall, and JMU was coming off a year where they had won the Sun Belt, and they couldn't compete in the conference championship
the
game.
NCAA's ridiculous
Exactly,
rules.
the ridiculous, hey, you can, it's a 2-year, like, figure out if you're a real school or not situation or whatever. And he had, like, it just come down, like, the day before when I met him there at Sunbelt Media Days. He was fuming. I thought to myself, if he gets a chance to bounce, he's going to, for sure, because he just, I mean, again, that wasn't like a JMU issue. That was a system issue.
Right,
But
right.
listen, man, dude just got paid. He's bet on himself, and he just cashed in. So really, really impressive stuff. No question about that for Curt Cignetti.
Yeah, and what we talked about, one of the main things that we just discussed a minute ago is the fact that timing is a perfect thing in coaching as it relates to players making plays between the lines.
Yeah.
But it's also huge as it relates to these kind of deals. Because
No question.
let's just say James Franklin wins one of those two games, Northwestern or UCLA.
Sure.
He might still have his job.
Probably would. Probably
And-
would.
And let's just say that Indiana does not beat Oregon. They might kick the can for a little bit to get them down the road. But you have a situation where in 7 days, James Franklin loses 2 straight games as a 3-point favorite, essentially.
Yep.
And then the biggest win of the season so far in college football, in my opinion, right now, is Indiana going to Eugene and winning that football game.
Without question. And I mean, I remember, all I typed to my parents were Signetti. Like, my dad's like a Notre Dame fan, but he's an IU basketball fan. He doesn't even know what he wants. But at the end of the day, when Indiana went over there, won that game, and he did it in this like way as Curt Cignetti does, in like it leaves you with this sour taste in your mouth when you're on the opposing sideline. Similar to Dan Lanning, they're not that too far off. One of them's older. One of them is a little bit, obviously, they're different style coaches, but. Man, they both are a little bit crazy, but to be great at anything, you got to be a little bit crazy. And I'll sum up what you said just now. My dad says it best. When you're hot, you're hot. And you got to take advantage of the moment. And he certainly has. And here we go.
One of the things that surprised me, and I'll ask you, and I think you have a good frame of reference for this because you said your dad is a big IU fan.
Yeah.
To me, Indiana is one of the handful of schools that possibly gets more excited about basketball victories than football victories.
Oh, there's no possible about that.
Duke-
There's no possible about that.
Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, Indiana, Georgetown, and some of these schools, to me, they love basketball more. I'm actually a little bit surprised that they committed this much to football, but it lets me know that they think of themselves as both.
They're seeing, this is twofold for me. One, yes, you're right, in that it's been a basketball school forever. Now, that doesn't mean they've been good at basketball lately.
No, they haven't.
Homeboy was at Georgia, whatever. Who's that? What's his name? Who was there? The former IU basketball coach. Oh, come on, guys. With the hair and the glasses and the mean mug, and he went to
I know
Georgia.
exactly what you're talking about.
Like, literally, just hasn't. I mean, just.
I can see
I saw
his
him.
face.
I saw him
I
on
can
the
see his face.
elevator. I saw him on the elevator. He works for ESPN now. I literally can't remember his name right now. Tom. Oh my gosh! Can someone
this is gonna
help
bother
us?
me. This is
Anyways,
gonna
I should
bother
probably
me.
Google this. All that to say,
Crean.
There we go.
Tom Crean.
Crean.
It was floating in there.
Like like a lot of people would say that, like, he under-delivered, at IU in some ways, that the program hasn't been what it was. You think about Bobby Knight and throwing the chair on the floor and the banners and all that. There's no question. But I think right now there is a clean slate. In college football. It is anybody's game. Gone are the basketball schools. Gone are the football schools. And I think that's why they're committing this. They're probably seeing an excitement and an enrollment of, are people interesting, applying to go to the school.
Right.
Just like the Nick Saban. I mean, that sounds dramatic, but the Nick Saban effect in Tuscaloosa.
Well, you're bringing up a school that I thought of. Because Alabama now
They're turning people
probably
away.
consider themselves, yes, for sure.
There's too many people.
Yes. And I would consider Alabama now as they think of themselves as a basketball and a football school.
Yep.
Football obviously is the powerhouse,
Yep.
but they expect to compete for championships in
school.
both.
Championship school.
And Auburn is approaching that. Football's lagged a little bit, but basketball's kind of taking the surge right now. And Florida's been this for a while. They've won national championships in the same year in both sports. And I wonder if this is the pendulum swinging for IU, thinking of themselves in the same regard.
Gerhard, you've taught me a lot in my life.
Yeah.
Nothing more than finances. You haven't done a good job of it. I'm just saying that's what you taught me about. ROI.
Yeah.
You taught me the term.
Yeah.
Return on investment.
Yeah.
Just a numbers game. You get excited about football, it's going to do you a little bit better than basketball.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how good you are, what you have been,
Yep.
what you were, what you might be. You get people excited about football, you get a better return on your investment. And they said, pay that man that money.
Pay this man.
Pay that man this money.
Pay
And
that
boy, did
man
he
his
strike
money.
it when it was hot, because James Franklin did him a solid.
Can you name the movie?
What?
Pay that man his money.
No.
You know it?
Show me the money. That's the same one. Show me the money.
Rounders, John Malkovich.
Rounders.
Yeah,
We're gonna watch
that's
it during
before
the
my
break.
time. Don't know why you thought I knew that.
It's an excellent poker movie. Excellent
No.
poker movie.
Yeah,
Matt
no.
Damon, John
Oh man,
Malkovich.
listen, I'm
It's
still
a good
trying to
one.
figure out investing. I should probably not worry about gambling until a little bit later, because if I ever get good at either one of them, we're going to be in decent place. But right now, I just am good at spending.